These are all the tools that I'm going to need to make my fixtures that hold the breast cancer awareness ribbons in the Tree of Life Challenge. So I need my oxyacetylene setup, and there's my argon, my Lincoln 110 welder, which is all I need. C140 it's called. Now let's get in and look at some of these other details. I need my 1/4 inch grinder, tape measure, drill with a 1/4 inch drill bit. I'm going to need a piece of black pipe, and then a piece of this blue copper. It's got a little heavier thickness to it and that'll drive right inside of the tubing. Once I score it out, I'll drill down into the black pipe to clear out the ridge that's in there, and then this just happens to just fit perfectly in there. You have to hammer it in, and then I lop these off into proper lengths. And then once I get the length made with the tubing inside of it, then I'll flatten a spot out here and then drill a hole through the center of that, onto which I can nest a nut like so, and then on that will go a bolt. So here's what that looks like when it's all finished. And I cleaned up the metal so I make sure I have good welds. There's 6 points where I welded the nut on there, and then of course this was drilled through, so now it becomes a set screw on the inside by how far it goes in, and this will set onto a pin post. And so then I take a length of 1/4 inch rod to do this. This distance is rather arbitrary, just as long as it goes up and over in the pretty much the center of this, and then weld it in place. Then onto this is going to get welded a tube. Now this is 5/16 brake line. It just happens to fit right on the 1/4 inch tube with very little slop. It's kind of cool. Just to ensure that I don't have any burrs or anything like that, that's why I have a 1/4 inch drill on the end of the drill bit. And that's to clean out the burrs and stuff and whatever happens as a result of cutting these to size. And I cut them to size using this little tool here, but it does have a tendency to crimp it inward and stuff, which is why you need the drill bit to run through to clean out those ends so that your rods will slip in and out real easy. Now your first one is going to be 2 1/4 inches long. These are going to go inside here about only a 1/2 inch, and then that's going to get braze welded along with all of your other longer rods here. Now this is the starter rod that you're going to need, and then you're going to need 4 more of these. I'm going to do 5 tiers on this arrangement. You'll see how that works in a minute. Now I want 5 of these tubes as well, cut to 2.5 or 2 1/4 inches in length, onto which they're going to weld, go onto these parts here, like so. Okay, now that that's ready, I'm going to have to make the parts that hold all the ribbons and stuff. It turns out that there's 19 16th inch RG45 rods. These are normally 36 inches in length. I'm cutting them in half to 18 inches. Every one of these tiers is going to be 18 inches. Now, I run all of these in holding this wire. The 19 will wrap right around the very end with very little, with almost no space left in between the rods and stuff. So it's completely surrounding the rod. And then this is setting inside of that little tube I showed you earlier. And then you wrap it all together, and then what I'll do is this will get tapped down so the tube is right inside there. It's completely enveloped, and this is going to go in 1/2 inch, and that's all going to get braze welded together. And only the very end of it here, like maybe only a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch of this is going to get braze welded. But then the rod, the tube, and all these smaller rods here are all going to be fixed at that end point. And this is what it will look like. when it's all done. You see here, and then you can see inside here where the tube fits onto only a ½ inch onto the 1/4 inch steel rod, and then all these get butted up to the end and it's all welded in place. Then these are bent back into the shape you want to create the effect of that tier. By bending these down like so, you can create a spray pattern that looks like a fountain. And so here's what I use to weld it all together. Some brass coated rod, flux coated. And then you're also going to need some wire cutters and pliers to cinch down your wire here that's going to hold your little bundles of rod together. So now let's see what that looks like. Over here you can see the first spray pattern. And so you can see how this is going to work. This fitting here now will go on top of the tree branch. So this is basically what's going on inside of a tree. This is how that's how I make my branches. There's a brace in there, they all end up tapering near the end of the branch. And then every single branch has a pin post that stands vertically. No matter where the branches go, these always end up vertical. Now I'm going to put this on top of that here, just down so you can see how that works. And then that can be pivoted to where I need it, and then cinch it down and it's locked in place. Now I'm going to put this little tube here on top of this. That will get welded here, braze welded. And then I have my fixture that you see now. This all used to be straight and laying flat, and I bent it down and over, and you can see it's all now one integral unit with the rod, the starter rod that was 2 1/4 inches long, and then the technique is the same for each tier. So now this will go up into this part here, so now it can all spin around. So now the next tier is going to be set up like so, and then this just keeps repeating itself with segments right here. So this now will go in there, this will get repeated with another layer up here, and you just keep doing tiers, and then you adjust your spray pattern here so that all of the ribs are not going to be in the way of the tier below, and you have plenty of clearance. 6 inches is just the length that I'm starting with. It may not work appropriately, but I wanted to capture all this while I had all the parts available. So anyway, that's how I make the fixture for the Tree of Life Challenge.